I know this looks ridiculous, but today I've got out all of the PowerMacintosh 8500s that I bought when I was in college. I bought these from the local university at their surplus sale, probably only paid a fraction of what they're worth today for them. But I love the 8500 form factor so much that I upgraded them quite a bit. One of them is upgraded with a G3 processor, and the other one is upgraded with a G4 processor. So today I thought I would benchmark them and see how much faster they are than the standard computer. I will be using Gauge Pro to look at the specs of all these machines, because when we get to the G3 and G4 powered computers, Apple's own system profiler does not give the correct information. So this machine right here is my PowerMacintosh 8500 150. You can see it has a PowerPC 604 running at 150 megahertz. My two other computers that are G3 and G4 powered, one had a 120 megahertz chip and one had a 132 megahertz chip. So the fastest 604 is the one that is still running the 604 processor. This computer right here has 288 megabytes of RAM. That's a lot of RAM, but it's actually not as much as I have crammed into the other two. For benchmarking today, I'm going to be using Norton's System Info. All the machines are set exactly the same per the requirements for running System Info to compare them to the other benchmarks. Today we don't need to test the display or the disk because we're going to be using the same display. We don't use the same type of original disks as they originally did, so I'm only going to be testing the CPU speed difference between these computers. So now click Run. And here are the results. All of these are calculated against a original PowerMac, the 6160. So at the top of the chart here is the G4 and G3 models. So this is an unfair comparison, all these up here, but our machine came out to 248. Here's a PowerMac 9600-200, which is the best performing of the regular PowerMacs that are listed here, I believe. I do have a PowerMac 9600-300 that I can benchmark later, and we'll see how that compares. But our system scored 248. This is for the original PowerMac 8500 150. Let's see how it did in the FPU. Again, for the original PowerMacs not moving on to G3s and G4s, this is one of the fastest computers that is here in the benchmarks. Our FPU came out to 364, which is 3.5 times faster than the PowerMac 6100. Now we'll boot up to the next machine and we'll see how it compares. Here is our next computer. This one is powered by a G3 at 266 megahertz. So this is very similar to some of the original PowerMac G3 models. Except having any IDE bus, we only have SCSI buses in this computer. Let's take a look at the memory. This one has 496 megabytes of memory. Let's run the speed test. Again, I am only going to test the CPU and FPU. Okay, let's take a look at the results. Here is our system, and it just barely, well, actually quite a bit, by one whole PowerMacintosh 6100, it beat the last system, the stock system that we tested. Although it is a big jump to keep up with the original PowerMac G3s. This one only has a 233 megahertz processor, so that's slower than the one in this system, but the computer is running almost twice as fast. and I think that's due to the bus speed of the computer. Let's check out the FPU. Here, this computer actually performed better than the original PowerMac G3 and absolutely killed the original PowerMac 8500-150 that we tested earlier. I'm going to save these benchmarks and we'll move on to the real big daddy, the PowerMacintosh 8500-150 with a G4 processor. Now, here's the third computer. This computer has a G4 processor running at 450 megahertz. This is over twice the clock speed that the original 8500-150 that we tested was. This computer has 448 megabytes of RAM. Let's get to the benchmark. We only want to test CPU and FPU and run. And here are the results. Interestingly, it still says it is not as fast as a PowerMac 9600, and I think that's completely due to bus speed. The 9600 is a newer design. It probably has a faster bus. The PowerMac 9600 is basically in the same form factor as the PowerMacintosh G3 Tower was, but still, this is a very, very fast PowerMacintosh 8500. We're 4 times faster than the original PowerMac, the 6160. When it comes to FPU, we are over 10 times faster than the PowerMac 6100, and this is almost one of the fastest computers that I have here in my benchmark. When it comes to the FPU, it looks like this computer is 3 times faster than the original PowerMacintosh 8500-150, which is a very fast version of the 8500. So if you were doing very math-intensive processors with this computer, this would be very fast. Well, I think that's it for today. If you want to see more videos like this, comment below and click subscribe.